You're listening to All Hands on Tech. Come along as we get to know the people and businesses behind the province's ever-expanding tech sector.
Each episode, we'll chat with local experts to uncover the hidden gems that make Nova Scotia a hub for collaboration, innovation, and creativity.
All Hands on Tech is proudly produced by Digital Nova Scotia, the industry association for Nova Scotia's growing tech sector. Hey, welcome back to another episode of All Hands on Tech. I'm your host, Eilish, and today we're shining a light on an incredible program that's been empowering the next generation of inventors and leaders for nearly 3 decades. If you're not already familiar with Techsploration, get ready for a conversation that will highlight all of the amazing ways that this program is opening doors for young women and gender diverse youth who are interested in STEM. And of course, being Digital Nova Scotia, we've got a little bit of a highlight on that T in STEM. So we're going to talk about Techsploration's exciting journey from working with incredible industry partners to celebrating the successes of alumni who are truly making their mark in these sectors. So to get that conversation going, I am now joined by Margaret Davidson, who is Techsploration's program manager, and Jenna Slaunwhite, the team's program coordinator. Hey ladies, thank you so much for joining me today. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, of course. Okay, we like to start off each podcast with some icebreaker questions, maybe to kind of, get rid of any tension, maybe some nerves that you're feeling having been on a podcast. So I've got a couple questions for both of you. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, first question. What is your favorite app these days?
I would have to say Instagram. A lot of my friends, that's kind of how I keep tabs on their lives through all those little stories that kind of get posted. So
Nice.
That's definitely a big one for me, where a lot of my friends are throughout the globe now.
Okay, that's a good way to stay connected. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
And yourself? Maria?
Mine would probably be Pinterest, just because I'm a crafty person, so I do a lot of scrapbooking and card making.
Okay.
And I have a huge library, so I like to rejig it every once in a while.
Ooh,
yeah.
Okay. Any mood boards happening there? Any manifestation boards,
Probably
stuff to call?
not, just a lot of just pinning, just to see what I can get away with.
Nice, there you go. Cool, love that. Okay, what is the last show or movie that you binge watched?
I'm currently binge watching with my spouse. We're watching, I think it's called Shrinking with Jason Segel. It's on Apple TV.
Oh, yeah, okay,
Yeah.
good.
Highly recommend.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, nice.
For me, it's 19-2 from Netflix. So it's a cop, police officer show based in Quebec.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I haven't heard of either of them, actually.
I did not hear about it either. My husband got me hooked on it.
Oh.
I know.
Is it crime documentary or
No, it's like a series, and it's obviously a show, but it's just like a series of two police officers. It's a police, like a station, and it follows all the crime and stuff in Montreal. Not accurate.
Okay,
But
that's okay.
yeah.
Sometimes it's nice to get lost in the, not a
Right.
real one.
Just turn it on and just walk away.
There you go. Nice. Okay, I love that. Okay, last icebreaker.
Okay.
If you could instantly be transported anywhere in the world, she says I already know.
I already know.
Okay, where would it be? Where would you go and why?
Oh, Sable Island.
Oh, really?
Always.
Have you ever been?
No, my uncle has though. My uncle used to swordfish off the coast of Sable Island, but
No way.
that would be my number
Cool.
one, 100%.
Very cool.
Very cool.
I was expecting where you instantly knew. I was like, she's going somewhere warm. She's going.
Although this week I probably could have went somewhere warm.
Yeah, somewhere a little less icy. That's really all my requirements are. What about
Makes a
yourself?
lot of sense. My husband travels a lot, so I'm always jealous of the places that he gets to go see. But I am a big Europe fan.
Okay.
In my youth, I was an au pair nanny in Italy.
No way.
So I always plan on going back at some point. But my husband and I, we really want to get to Germany. So
That's a fun
I would
one, too.
love to go to Hamburg or Belgium, which is just anywhere kind of in the north. But there's
Cool.
a few places that we'd like to try to get to.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, now mine seems boring.
No, you and the horses over there. Oh, it'd be incredible.
Also a huge horse fan. But
I love the very different answers though for that. That's super cool. So what is it about Sable Island? Though we do have to dig into this. I'm sorry, but what is it about Sable Island?
Ever since I was a kid, so I am from a very small community, and we had a bookmobile.
Okay.
So obviously I'm a little bit older, so we're a little bit more isolated, more rural.
Okay.
So we used to have a bookmobile that would come down once every couple of weeks, maybe.
Okay.
And I found a book on Sable Island. I absolutely
You just fell in love with it?
100%.
Oh. Do you follow the, because there's tours there, do you follow them on Instagram?
All the time, yes.
Yeah, beautiful, like
I
unbelievable
buy the lotto
images.
tickets. Like you can buy lottery tickets to go and win a trip.
Yes.
Yeah, someday.
If the folks who are in charge of that are out there listening,
Right.
that could be
All over it.
Techsploration goes to Sable Island.
I would be all over it.
I feel like that makes sense.
Right?
That's a partnership that needs to happen.
100%.
We're going to make it happen. Okay, so speaking of Techsploration, we'll move on from our travel desires here. Either one of you, I'll let you guys decide who wants to field this one. We're going to get into what Techsploration is, what it's all about. Somebody who may not be familiar with it, can you guys give me the lowdown on what Techsploration is?
Sure. So Techsploration is a nonprofit organization that empowers young women and gender diverse youth, mainly to explore careers in science, engineering, technology, and the skilled trades. All fields where women still remain vastly underrepresented across the board, mainly across Canada, especially in Nova Scotia. We do this through a mentor-based programming where we have hands-on activities, so workplace visits and then school visits, and we have divisional conferences across Nova Scotia, basically to engage females and gender diverse youth to get interested into these careers. We need those numbers.
You seemed to have a little bit of some emphasis on the word still in that language that you used just now about how we're still underrepresented.
We are across the board.
Talk to me about that.
Women across Canada they come in under 10% in a lot of STEM fields still. And if you break it down to, in the Black community, in the Indigenous community, the numbers are even lower. The gender diverse community, those numbers might be 1 to 2%. Okay. For example, I know we are talking a bit about technology, but even construction-based, it's 7% across Canada.
Really?
And if you go into some of the science-based programs, it does seem to get up there a little bit, but when they dive down into chemistry or biology, those numbers still go lower. And we've noticed in the tech field, even from role models, we still see fewer role models and few role models of color that are in those roles.
This is a little bit of a deep question, but having worked in this, do either of you have an understanding as to why that's still the case?
Even in 2025, we still notice a little bit of stereotypes. We notice, even with the grade 9 females, if you pair them up with their all gender counterparts, we find that the females will not speak out as much as if they have a question. We notice that the males will jump in and ask questions right away, but we still see that the females kind of reserve themselves, and gender diverse youth kind of reserve themselves. They don't feel like they can speak up sometimes.
That confidence is there.
they don't have the confidence. They don't feel like they can be heard, and that's what we're trying to change, in building that confidence and building that empowerment.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think a big thing regarding representation is a lot of the times, if we see ourselves in that position, we believe we can do it ourselves.
Yep.
So it's kind of a line where those individuals are underrepresented, but if they're not seeing themselves represented, they have a hard time imagining that they could be in one of those careers. So that's something that we're trying to achieve, is having those diverse role models be shown despite the statistics being so low, so that we can bring more individuals into those fields that look like that.
Break those barriers down and yeah, absolutely get that. It's funny, actually, we just had a conversation with the CEO of Queer Tech, and basically spoke about exactly that representation piece is so important. And it's such a simple idea that, if I see somebody who looks like me, sounds like me, is me essentially, I can see myself in those positions.
If you can't see it, you can't be it.
Exactly.
Yep.
It's so simple. It's so simple. And that's why the work that you guys do, I think, is so important to, again, break down those barriers. So, almost 3 decades, you guys. This is incredible. 27 years. Yes. I was at the program launch back a couple weeks ago, before the holidays, I believe it was. Tell me a little bit about 27 years of Techsploration.
27 years. It seems so long but not. So this year is a really exciting year. We're really looking for it. We have several new partners this year, several new initiatives through that we're highlighting this year. Careers in the automotive sector, climate sector, green energy this year, which is huge. Everybody, especially the younger generation, want to know how they're going to be able to sustain the planet.
I love that. I love that they're interested in that.
Oh, it's
so
a huge
important.
conversation. We've also got some additional funding this year to pilot an African Nova Scotia cohort. So we have 3 additional schools this year, or classes, that will be strictly African Nova Scotian, that are from the 52 historic Black communities in Nova Scotia. And we've also are working with some of our Francophone students.
Okay.
So we have a couple of Francophone workshops that we're going to be working with Francophone role models in the skilled trade and STEM fields.
No way.
So we have a list of schools that will be going to the workshop and kind of learning a little bit and then reporting back to their schools. So again, they're still getting that education piece based around, going to a worksite visit.
Wow. The Francophone side of things, is that a first for the program?
We have had schools in the past that were from the CSAP, but it's a lot sometimes for teachers to take on because the teachers' plates are overfilled, right?
Yes, this is something we certainly know.
So, and it goes across the board. Teachers, role models, everybody, we find that everybody is starting to take a lot more on than what we have in the past. So we've kind of not moved away. We've always invited French schools to our programming, but it's been a long time since we actually had a French programming school.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And some of our videos on our website are from French female role models, but now we've kind of kicked up that initiative to further change some of our already existing material and convert it to French, which is pretty exciting.
Yeah, cool.
We have a series called Power and Possibility videos and our Women in Action videos. So I think over the last couple of years we currently have 3 French, and we're doing additional ones this year too. So
just expanding that reach.
Yeah.
Love that. New French school coming in Halifax as well. So expanding into those areas I think is always really important. Just making it, what you guys do is trying to make, these industries more accessible to these kiddos, and what better way to do it than expanding that reach?
And these videos are shown all across the world. Like our marketing specialist, Megan, she has hits from, India, China, Australia. All these videos get viewed and shared all across the globe.
Oh,
yeah.
Cool.
We occasionally get people from other countries wanting to volunteer with Techsploration that reach out to me. Yeah.
Oh,
and
amazing.
Unfortunately, we're not quite there yet.
Yeah, not there yet.
And that's, maybe who knows when.
Within the next 27 years, for sure.
Possibly.
For sure.
The next team will do that.
Okay, well, now, because you guys gave me a little tidbit about your own experience and how you guys actually got started with Techsploration, we have to touch on that. Margaret, can you share your story,
Yes.
please?
So my Techsploration journey is a little bit different than the rest of the team. So I was actually a participant back in '98. I know.
We can bleep that out. We'll bleep it out.
Everybody says that. So I actually was a part of the original cohort that started way back when, and we only had 8 schools, 6 students per school, rural schools, mainly Cape Breton and surrounding areas. So I still remember my role model from that time period, right? She was a mechanical engineer for Sable Offshore Energy, which should tell you how long ago it's been. And then through that process, we actually had a scholarship that was awarded, and I was the first to take that on as well. I applied for it, so Techsploration actually put me through an IT, diploma at NSCC.
Oh my gosh.
And then from there, I've been either a role model or a student role model, volunteer for a lot of years. And then about 8 years ago, I became staff and worked the way up. So now I manage the programming between Nova Scotia and PEI, and then help if we have any programming in Ontario. We all kind of pitch in when we're needed.
Amazing.
Yeah.
What is that full circle moment like for you?
Seeing the students with their confidence. So it was always a battle for me for confidence. I think you just hit to a point where you forgo your level of caring when you hit an adult. But with these kids, they're very quiet and reserved at first. We see them in January and February where they go to their worksite visits and they're scared, or maybe they have to take a parent with them or what have you. And by the end of our 2-day conference, they've made friends that they will meet forever, right? They connect, well, now this day and age, they connect through like their TikTok and their Snapchat and all that stuff. But we see students that are coming from PEI to spend a weekend with friends that they've met in Truro because of a conference for 2 days.
Wow.
Right? And we see them move on, and we see them grow, which is huge for us. That's the biggest part for me. It's just watching them grow.
Amazing. Yep. Okay, Jenna, not quite 27 years for yourself, but a similar-ish story.
Yeah, absolutely. So Margaret and I are the 2 current members of our team that are both Techsploration alumna. So I went through the program in 2008. Shout out Riverside Education Center in Milford. I was the first team to go through Riverside. So it was the first year that Techsploration had been done in East Hants. And my experience, I got to go to the Bedford Institute of Oceanography, which was absolutely fantastic. At the time, I thought I wanted to be a vet or a marine biologist, so it fit perfectly. And we got some kind of deep dive tours, and we got to do a lot of research actually into the sediment and the kind of ecological composition of the Halifax Harbor, which was
interesting.
Very interesting.
Especially at the time, I'm sure.
Yes, there was definitely at the time, I don't think there was as many cleaning initiatives going on.
Yep.
But it was kind of very interesting to see. I don't know if there was too much garbage that they kept, but it was very they went hundreds of years down into the sediment, and they could see, what kind of environmental impacts have been happening from harbor use and even the Halifax explosion. So it's a very, very pivotal and unique experience. So after that, when I went to high school at the time, it was kind of this very large expansion for Techsploration. So after my experience in middle school, I kind of did some other opportunities and developed my leadership skills, but Techsploration was incredibly pivotal in myself building confidence, being able to make friends, learn about different careers. And from there, after grade 12, I was contacted by our still current alumni coordinator, Maureen. I received this little ping on Facebook, and she was wondering if I was Jenna from Riverside Education Center.
My gosh.
So back in 2012, after I graduated, she found me. And when a job opening happened at Techsploration a year and a half ago, I jumped on the opportunity, and I've been with the team.
Yeah, and that's a funny story too, because our team is very unique because we actually have our alumni outreach coordinator is actually a previous Techsploration team teacher.
Yep.
So Maureen Duffy Mason has been, she's been a teacher in New Germany for a number of years. And then when she retired, we grabbed her to come back and kind of get the new.
What a great way to have
alumni.
those connections already
It's
on
amazing.
board. You've got some students that you probably had kept an eye on, and wow.
Yep. So we see that along the way that we have some amazing role models, and she grabs them all and she finds them and kind of brings them back for the next generation. Yep.
I love that. Really, and quite literally inspiring that next generation. Amazing. Okay, you kind of touched on a little bit that there's some exciting new industry partners that are helping to make all of this work possible. Obviously, I know you can't name everybody, of course. We'd be here for quite some time.
We're gonna.
Okay, rapid fire, hit me with them. Who are we working with?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're proud to work alongside a fantastic group of partners that make Techsploration possible. So the Nova Scotia Community College and Nova Scotia Apprenticeship Agency, the Labour Skills and Immigration Division, are core founding partners that have been with us from the start, essentially. And the Nova Scotia Department of Early Education and Childhood Development is also a long-term core partner for us. And so their ongoing support with these 3 core organizations have been absolutely instrumental in getting Techsploration where it is today.
Amazing.
And then we have lovely additional partners. So that includes the Government of Canada, the Province of Nova Scotia, Women and Gender Equality Canada, so that's WAGE, Pratt & Whitney, Irving Shipbuilding, Lockheed Martin Canada, Merit Nova Scotia, Buildright, Sobeys, the NSCC Foundation, Bird Construction, the Dow Faculty of Computer Science, Michelin, Construction Safety Nova Scotia, Red Space, Nucleus Strategy, Design Marketing, and Encore. So,
amazing.
Yeah, thank you to all those wonderful companies and organizations. We wouldn't be here without them.
Can you kind of expand a little bit on that? Like how important is their support in what you guys do in your day to day?
Well, it is the only reason our program still exists. We could not do what we do without these industry partners because we're a nonprofit. So our whole base of the amount of schools that we have, the amount of kids that we have, are based on their partnership, but we also include, so there's also Acadia, Cape Breton University, Engineers Nova Scotia and St. Mary's University actually offers scholarships for Techsploration alumni going into sciences, skill trade, engineering, but we really couldn't even begin to do it without the amount of in-kind that we get donations from. That it doesn't include money at all. It's the hours, the teacher hours, the role model hours, the sponsorship, that they come as invited guests. We invite them to, judge our competitions and just see them. We could not do it without the amount of, and it's thousands of hours of in-kind donations from volunteer groups that we have. And we are so thankful to sit there and have them see what we do.
Yeah, it truly takes a village, and we're extremely grateful.
Oh, well, I know there's a couple DNS members on that list. And if I can
There is,
for a moment about how incredible our members are, and how proud we are to have them as members when they're out doing things like that and supporting, community like that. One of them, I know, Nucleus Strategy, having Clement Roy, he's the founder, CEO there.
Yes.
Actually, on this podcast, when he was on the episode, he announced that he was doing, through their Nucleus Culture Initiative, he based out of Montreal. So they chose an organization in Montreal to be on the receiving end of a portion of their revenue for the year. And he told us that you guys are the Nova Scotia chapter of that. So that's fantastic. We love to see that. Red Space, a huge supporter of ours as well, through our digital discovery camps, through March break and through the summer. So shout out to the organizations that are really, like you said, creating that village and supporting that village.
100%.
We are very much on the receiving end of that support as well. So it's really nice to know that, we're all kind of out here doing it for each other, helping each other get by.
Absolutely.
Okay, back into kind of the gist of the programming and what it's all about. How do you guys ensure, technology, the industries that you are, kind of helping these students flourish in and potentially, one day maybe explore, ever evolving, constantly
100%.
evolving. How do you guys make sure that you're preparing these students to kind of keep up with that?
Yeah, that's a good question. So technology is a huge piece of infrastructure for any organization, and we're not excluded from that. We are a small non-for-profit, but we just don't have the resources for technical experts in-house. So that's where Nucleus comes in for us, and we're so happy and thankful for their generosity. But we've been fortunate to have wonderful tech partners across the board. For example, Red Space, they have the coolest building that we've been in. It's actually technically one of the top 3 repeated requested role models, because the slide is a big thing. But they also have a really cool work environment too, right?
They do, yeah.
So they've been a strong partner for us for years. They provided, in-kind donations. I know Jen Prisk, for example, she sits on our board, but she plays a crucial part for, our program advisory committee. So she actually helps develop the program.
Nice.
And then a role model extraordinaire, and she does all our keynote speakers. But I know Natasha has been working, our director of operations, she has been working with Nucleus to try to commit and, shrink the gender gap. So it's definitely something that we're definitely aware of. The hard part is with technology is trying to get females in those roles to showcase for our students. So it's really cool to show them, and we always try to do some sort of workshop or, video around it, but it's getting those role models to step in.
Yeah.
Right. And we are always looking for role models, but even having a male ally, for example, a lot of our work place workshops they happen at NSCCs. So at Nova Scotia Community College, it's not always easy to get a female instructor in there because let's face it, they're not across the board. So we need those male allies too. So a lot of the times we'll have, someone that is a leading expert in that field will come in and do a workshop because we're still just breaking down the stereotypes and the gender-based stereotypes. So we want to see females in those roles, but we also want to just know about the actual technology that's coming out and introduce it to our students, right?
And that education still happens, whether it is, a male who's presenting it or a female. It's just obviously if we could have the choice,
always.
Nothing against the guys, but if we could have the choice, of course, that makes a lot of sense. Is there any sort of, before I get into that, let's go back into this. How can people get involved? How do they become, who do they need to reach out to if they want to become, let's start with the mentor side of things.
Sure.
How do folks get involved?
So there's a number of different ways to become involved. So the biggest supporter is obviously a school team role model, which is you get paired up with a school team. So we do have 25 schools across Nova Scotia and PEI, mainly rural schools, because as we know, those rural schools don't have the same opportunities as the bigger schools do, right? So taking a school team, it could be an individual, it could be a team. I know, for example, Red Space, they usually do 2 or 3. We have several groups that, they just can't pick one person. So it's fun to see that different perspective from several people. Cool. So the students get to go to the work site and they get mentored through the work site and, do a work site visit. They come to the school and the conferences and they get to learn more about that specific career. It is about a 4-day throughout the whole season. So between January to May, the end of May, it is a 4-day commitment here and there. Then sometimes people can't take that on. So what we do ask is we do have a list of guest role models. So maybe they don't have a school paired up with them, but what they do is they actually are invited to the school events or to our conferences, and it's like a 2-hour commitment where they bring their quote-unquote tools of the trade. They set up a table, and we do what we call a round table or a round robin, which is a speed career fair. So basically the students are broken up into groups, and they have to rotate through all the different careers. So that is one way. We also do volunteers. So we're always looking for volunteers just to even come spend the day. Because it provides, it gives the students a more laid back version, not so much, a lot of role models are still scared to speak. So it gives them that one-on-one opportunity as opposed to having like that big giant stage.
And sometimes parents will want to volunteer. We always welcome parents to just come watch their kids at the events as well. But if they want to volunteer, they're always welcome to email Margaret and myself. So
that's really fun to watch too. Have the dads and the moms up with their video cameras or their phones watching and recording the kids do the presentations, right? Another big thing is getting Jenna and myself contacts. We need to know. We don't know about these incredible role models that are out there unless we're introduced to them. So that is another big one, contacting us to let us know.
Our information's on the website. We've got a staff directory.
It's super simple to find because that's how I got in touch with you guys.
There you go. Techsploration.ca, and we're on all social medias. So usually Jenna or myself will be able to answer anything. But another big thing is just if you don't have any role models, but you really, really just want to support, partnerships, monetary-based partnerships. We can't do the programming we do without money, unfortunately.
No, I mean, that's the reality. Right? That's the elephant in the room, that it takes time and effort, but it also takes finances.
And those are sometimes just as important as money. They really are.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And every year we're always trying to showcase new careers or underrepresented careers, or we might have a lot from one sector, but maybe we're trying to reach a sector that we don't have a lot of role models in. Usually we'll put a call out kind of asking that you contact us, but seriously, as Margaret said, we are always here to answer any questions, or if anyone is ever interested, just email us and
And we want to know the cool ones. Like everything we don't know. We don't know what's available in Nova Scotia. We don't see it because we are a little bit more removed from it unless someone introduces us to the really cool jobs that are out there. And things are changing on the platform now that, weren't there even 2 years ago.
Absolutely.
So.
I mean, like I say that, like the idea of the question I asked earlier about like how do you make sure that the kids are, prepared for the ever-changing industries that you're getting them prepped for. Same goes for how do you make sure that that these jobs are even out there for people.
Exactly. It's almost up to Margaret and I to try to stay with the times. Like I didn't know there's like 50 types of engineers.
Oh yeah.
I thought there was just one.
Right?
And
an engineer is an engineer and they do all the engineering jobs.
Yes.
Nope.
No.
Definitely not the
Not
case.
true.
Yeah.
But like and technology, like there's stuff that's going to happen in next week that we're not aware of. And we just
we're constantly seeing it,
Right?
Through the Digital Nova Scotia lens as well. I mean, myself, like I don't have a tech background. And so the things that I have been, exposed to, open up to, it's just blown my mind what people are out there doing.
Coding and
Coding's
AI,
a huge
of course,
one, yeah.
is a very large in-demand segment now.
Yeah.
And we're seeing a lot of youth in their applications because they have to apply to the program. They send in an application to their team teachers. That's usually in the form of an essay, a poem, or some form of artwork.
Cool.
But we're seeing a lot of interest lately in coding and the tech sector, which is really exciting.
Yeah, that is, well, from maybe a little bit of a biased standpoint of Digital Nova Scotia, that's very interesting. I love to hear that.
But that's where everything is going. Everything is
It
based
is.
around something technology based now,
Yeah,
right?
you're not wrong.
No matter what you're doing.
You're not wrong at all. Okay, well, that was going to be my next question. How do the youth get involved? But sounds like you kind of answered it a little bit there. Do you want to expand on it? Is there more than just that application process? Do they have to, any hoops to jump through, that sort of good stuff?
Not really too much aside from that. Like I said, we have usually 2 teachers per school that will be involved in the program. So like Margaret mentioned, we work with about 20 to 25 schools in Nova Scotia and PEI currently. And so the team teachers will kind of put out the call for applications whenever they're sort of ready to start forming their team. Okay. Usually that's between December and January. And so they will send in that application. Like I mentioned, it's usually a short form essay, so maximum 2 pages. We're not looking for anything too crazy. It is just great lines. And so that, a poem, artwork. We've had some wonderful, talented pieces of art.
It's amazing to see the talent that comes out.
Oh, I bet.
So we do showcase a lot of our artwork and stuff on our socials and our website. But we're all about teaching the kids without telling them we're teaching them, living them, those life lessons, right?
It's like when you work in like vegetables to the meal.
Yeah. So they do have to do like an interview section. Okay. So the teachers will get all their stuff in. And the cool thing is if you have a school that's got grade 7 to 12, there's alumni at that school.
Yeah. Hey,
right?
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. So a lot of the times the teachers will rope in that alumni saying, I'm not going to do it. You guys are going to talk about how cool this program is. And that's what it is, right? It's all based through their eyes, which is really cool because obviously we're a little bit removed now, but seeing the kids just come alive and bring it out, but they have to do interview section. Okay. So the teacher, it's only tiny, like it might be a couple minutes, but it's still getting them ready for, that summer job.
Right, that reality. Great,
right?
Now you're headed into potentially working that summer.
100%. They also have to do, every student goes through a safety workshop. Yes. So WMIS and SELT, which is generously provided by Construction Safety Nova Scotia, because we don't know where they're going at first, we don't know what role models are going to be paired up. So all our students have to go through that safety program.
Which probably just isn't a bad thing. Whether they need it in that specific partnership or not is definitely not a bad thing to have a general understanding of.
Right.
Exactly. And there's a lot of summer jobs that at least require women's some friends. So it's always good for them to have. And
then once they're formed on the team, again, they're still learning those lessons because they have to do team building. They have to do, conflict issues. They have to, figure out problem solving. And the number one scariest thing in the world, public speaking. Dun, dun, dun. It's still one of the scariest things in the world for as a young kid, it's scary now at my age. But getting up in front of a group of your peers and talking about a career that you just found out about, you had to learn about, creating that skit. So a lot of our kids, last year was the Taylor Swift era, we're going to call it. So part of the program, the kids actually have to create a presentation. Okay. And the presentation, again, is 10 to 12 minutes. And they have to talk about their role model, their career, and just something fun. Like the creativity that Jenna talked about is, whether they're doing, a PowerPoint. I guess it's not PowerPoint, it's slides. Whatever the PowerPoint equivalent is.
Technology all involved, right?
I was just thinking exactly that.
Yeah, but they also some of them do skits, some of them do songs, some of them create songs, dances. Like, it's so cool. And then they build that network that they're not aware of yet. It's like going up and talking to a role model that they don't know, or a group of role models, or meeting a new friend. So again, all those life lessons and, things that they're going to need to know.
Yep. Just so well-rounded.
Yep.
Whether they pursue a career in STEM or not, it seems to be that this program really just kind of sets these students up for success wherever life may take them.
Yeah.
And that's a big thing too, is building that confidence and building that self-esteem. They might decide they don't want to go this route.
Yeah.
And that's sometimes just as important as not knowing what you want to do as it is what you do want to do.
Yeah.
So they might go into a role model or a worksite visit knowing I'm going to be, a programmer. 100% I'm going to be a programmer. That's all I want to do. I want to program games. And they go in and they're like, oh, well, I got to know this and this. Maybe I'll do design instead.
Yeah.
Right?
And you're right. That's just as important as knowing what you do want to do. I don't know how many times I changed my mind before.
I still change my mind every year. Every year. Yeah. We always see so many cool things that come through. They're like, oh, that would have been really cool.
Right? Yeah.
And it's really cool to talk to youth that go through the programming in grade 9. And then we also have an alumni conference in the fall that the grades 10 to 12 get to come back to.
Okay.
And they've already done the hard work. They've already done their presentation in grade 9.
Yeah.
So this is just a day of fun where we do interactive workshops. We do our round robin career fair again. So a lot more career building and career exposure. But if you talk to them in grade 9 and then what they thought they wanted to do and then what they want to do now in grade 12, which again still might change, but it's completely different. And it's really amazing to see that we're kind of a part of that.
Yeah.
I just feel like it's such a big ask to try and have 17, 18-year-olds figuring out if they're going to go into a 4+ year university degree, if they're going to pursue a trade. Like, it's we go from expecting them to raise a hand to ask to go to the bathroom in grade 12 to, okay, go figure out your life now.
Yep.
And so I feel like this is such a good foundation to make that transition maybe a little bit easier.
Yep.
Whether, again, like you say, whether they change their mind and they decide in the program in grade 9 that this is what I'm going to do and they go forward with that, that's great. But even if they don't, I feel like it just allows them, again, that confidence. It comes back to that confidence in themselves to figure out what they want to do.
And we're laying the foundation, too, of it. The reason we start in grade 9 is just before they're ready to pick those high school courses.
Yeah.
So the foundation that we're laying is science and math. No matter grade 10, 11, and 12, you're going to need that basic science and math or academic science and math anywhere you go. No matter what your career is, no matter what you decide to do or don't decide to do, you're going to need it.
Absolutely.
And building those experiences, because what you might thought your plan A was could end up being plan, M through Z. And all those experiences that you're building, you're going to use them.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely. I think, Margaret, you know this a little bit more than I do, but we've even, through our own career exploration and getting to know some of our role models and maybe visiting with their worksite visits, we've actually had Techsploration staff switch careers.
True story.
Yeah.
No way.
Because of our role models.
Yeah, our marketing specialist a couple of years ago fell in love with the forces.
Really?
Yeah. And she sits on our board of directors now, but she left, she saw it, and she's like, I need to do this.
This is good and bad, because obviously you don't want to lose your team,
Right.
but you always want to see them do better.
Yep.
And pursue something that they're passionate about.
That's the big thing, is finding their passion.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, are there any alumni stories that really stand out to you? I mean, like, we could probably do a whole episode on just that.
I know, we definitely could. Do you want to take that?
Yeah, sure. Like we mentioned, Maureen Duffy Mason, she's our alumni outreach coordinator. And she is fantastic at tracking down alumni stories and kind of bringing them back into the fold, whether it's to get testimonies or just talk with them, or maybe they want to become involved in the program and it's a full circle moment, which is absolutely amazing. So over, the 27 years that we've kind of been around, there's definitely ones that come to mind. So I believe she sits on our board as well. Her name is Ardina Paul, and she's an architectural engineer technician and Indigenous advisor at Fathom Studios.
Wow.
So she is an absolutely wonderful human being. We have Tabia Marsland. She is a programmer at Ubisoft Halifax.
Oh, yes.
And there is a video of her in our Power and Possibilities series. And we have Naylin Stevens. She is in aquatic science. She's an aquatic science technician at DFO.
Cool.
Megan Martin. She is a PhD in biomedical engineering. She's at the Florida International University in Miami. We have
this reach is just incredible.
I
Just
know.
see just the titles alone
I
to
know.
see the scope of where you guys have seen impact.
Absolutely. Malik DeBoer, she's a third-year Dalhousie computer science student. She was actually a guest speaker
last year.
our Division
Churro,
10
yes.
event.
Yes. Okay, I was going to say this name sounds familiar. I think I saw that on your social media. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we have, correct me if I'm wrong, Margaret Tierney Paul.
Tina Paul. Yep.
She is a PhD in engineering concentrating on water conditions of the First Nations. So.
And the list goes on and on.
Yes.
Yeah,
On
I
and
bet.
on.
I bet.
On and on. Maureen has, sheets and sheets of the amazing alumni that we have.
Love it.
And then we have ones that change their career and come back and tell us.
Yeah.
We've had one that was a nursing student an actual RN for 7 years, and then COVID hit, and obviously that was a big shock to her system, and she went back and became a construction worker.
Wow.
She's now got a red seal in construction.
Wow.
Yeah.
It really is just fascinating to see people's lives change like that, and to know that your organization is a big part of that. I think it's safe to say a really big part of that.
Yep. And we try to spotlight any new role models, alumni that come in. You can see them all on our social media. We would probably be here for 4 hours just listing the amount that we have. But there's some really cool alumni doing really cool things that we, again, I've never thought about.
Yeah, and each year we create a poster series that features alumni, and so that changes from year to year, but some of our alumni have actually taken posters from our events and gone back to their schools, or the teachers have asked them to sign their posters.
Yes, we have a few
cute.
signatures, yes.
Cute. Oh, I
Yes.
love that.
You never know where they're going to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They could be famous and we have their autograph.
Exactly.
There you go. Good to keep a database of.
That's it.
Okay, ladies, this has been just wonderful. So heartwarming. It's obvious to see. I always say that my favorite interviews are people who are passionate about what they're doing, and it's just so clear that you both feel that way. And I think aside from all of the other incredible things that Techsploration is doing, obviously there's something going right here that you have these alumni yourselves who went through the program and felt such a connection and such a success that you decided that you wanted to ultimately work to keep pushing that for others. So obviously something is going right in these last 27 years, and I'm excited to see what the next 27 plus have in store.
We are too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, with that in mind then, floor is yours. Is there anything that we haven't talked about yet that you would like to discuss? Any exciting news coming down the pipeline? 2025, what do we got planned?
Oh, there's so many things. Keep track. Really, just check out our website. All our updates are going to be on those. Our social medias, Megan, who is our marketing specialist, is pretty on top of everything that we're doing. And things are changing so fast, sometimes we're not aware of them until we have a team meeting, a team check-in. Did you know this is happening? No, I didn't know this was happening. So Jen and I are more on the programming side, so it's really cool to see the new things that are happening, the new initiatives that are coming in. So there's always new things across the board. And if anybody knows any role models that you just need to feature, reach out to myself or Jenna and check us out at techsploration.ca.
Amazing.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And if for some reason you can't find the website, which you should be able to, it's pretty easy. But if for some reason, reach out to me. I will happily connect you with these ladies because, the work that you guys are doing is incredible. I know we've got some really great, we've got a mentorship program through DNS as well.
Yes.
So I'll definitely be searching through that database and
We'll be
sending some
talking.
notes and connecting some folks.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Gals, thank you so much for the time. And thank you for what you're doing for our community. As, a young woman who ultimately I asked a lot of the questions and made a lot of the comments about how, what if somebody doesn't know what they want to do? Because I experienced it. I lived it. I went to university, I'm not doing anything connected to what I did in school there until I actually graduated from NSCC myself. And really, you know, I had an instructor who I saw myself in, and she was so influential in what I'm doing today.
And that's what it takes, just one person.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. Okay, gals. Thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for your time.
Recorded by This Is Marketing, unblanding branding since 2015.